Welcome, everyone, to episode 10 of the Hendriks Experience Podcast. Today, we have with us Michael Schram, insurance broker with the Billiard Group. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And just to give you a quick background for everybody. Michael is one of our most recent business partner additions into the Hendriks Business Centre downtown on King Street, corner of King and Carlisle. And they have a main office in St. Catharines. But Mike works right inside of our building with all the other guys and gals in our office. And he's the most recent addition. And it's a pleasure to have you with us now.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So let's talk, set a little bit about the context of today and talking about insurance. I think we're going to focus on home and auto insurance.
Yeah.
And before we get into that, we hear insurance agent. We hear more insurance broker, just like we hear for mortgages.
Yeah.
But insurance, what's the difference?
So an insurance broker like myself would be able to shop your home or your auto around to a variety of different companies to find you the best rate, whereas an insurance agent would be tied to one company directly.
One company directly. So that would be like Desjardins?
Desjardins, Allstate, companies like that. Yep.
Okay, terrific. So those insurance agents work for just that company. So when you go in to see one of them, great companies, they go in there, you're getting a policy directly with that company.
Yes.
For yourself, somebody comes in, you're a little bit more like representing them, just like we do with a buyer or a seller. We're representing individuals in real estate.
Yep.
You're representing that person to find them the best policy, terms, pricing, and so on.
Exactly.
Okay, excellent. And what do you find when someone comes in? You know, insurance seems really simple. You come in, you get insurance, you don't think about it much. You pay your usually monthly premiums on it, or you can pay all at once, I guess. Mm-hmm. And if nothing happens, you don't think about it anymore, right?
Pretty much, yeah. You put it in the drawer at home and you don't ever take it out. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a good thing, though.
Yeah. It's one of the things that you pay for that you hope you never have to use.
Hope you never have to use.
Yeah.
And speaking of hope you never have to use, but life is what life is. You also do life insurance.
I do, yeah.
Yes. We're not going to get into too much about life insurance today. We'll leave that for another day.
Another time, yeah.
And so let's get back to the home and auto. So someone comes in, they reach out to you.
Yep.
Do you generally have a face-to-face or phone call with them?
Yeah, whatever the customer prefers. A lot of people nowadays, especially the younger generation, they prefer to do things over phone, email, or even text, whereas some of the older generation, they want to meet face-to-face. So it's nice that we have the office in St. Catharines along with me being at the business center down on King Street.
Fantastic. Yeah, we've got a nice boardroom there, so people can come in and meet with you face-to-face, especially, I guess, maybe if it's the first time meeting you.
Yep.
They don't know you. You may have been a referral from a family or friend or somebody they know or from our team.
Yeah.
So they've never met you. So I can totally appreciate that they may want to see you face to face, see how nice of a guy you are and everything. Yeah. Fantastic. So when people come in, what's their main concern when they're coming in about insurance? Do they care about anything? Just like, I have a car, I need car insurance. I'm buying a house, I need house insurance. Do they have any concerns about it?
Yeah, of course. I want to say coverage is obviously number one, but price is generally the most important thing for people nowadays with everything being so expensive. You know, they want to make sure that they're getting the best bang for their buck. They're getting, the best coverage that they can for a price that, fits their budget.
Fair enough. So price number one. Now, are they shopping around through you to the other companies? They're doing that, correct?
Yeah.
Do you find that they're also calling other insurance brokers or not really needed since you're doing the shopping for them?
Yeah, I mean, I do a pretty good job of explaining, my role and how I'm able to do the shopping for you to kind of take a little bit of that onus off your plate and, provide you with quotes from 20 to 30 different insurance companies that can give you the best rate.
Awesome. So you send out a profile. Let's use real estate, for example, since that's what we do. Yeah. Someone buys a house. It's all the same details about the house. The details of the house don't change.
No.
So you're sending it out to them. Why would you get different prices from different insurance companies? Can you share everybody about that?
Yeah, for sure. Every company has a different risk portfolio themselves. They might see, a certain size house of square footage, the dollar value of the dwelling, or the actual person, because credit score is actually taken into account as well. So all those different factors.
They take a look at your credit score.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. They've never asked me, or did they?
They should have asked you.
Yeah,
but
I don't recall ever being asked, can we do a credit check on you?
Yeah, it's a soft hit. It's a soft hit on the credit. It's not something that would really show up on the bureau. Or
yeah, so just to clarify, a soft credit check is something that's not going to impact your credit score or bring it down. If you have a hard check on your credit score, then, it could dip your score a little bit. So you want to try to not to get too many hard looks at your credit.
Exactly.
Because that can start to impact you, right? We want to keep your credit score up as high as possible. If you ever need to get a car loan, getting a mortgage and so on. Correct?
Yep.
All right. So it's a soft hit on your credit score.
Yes.
Good to know. They check that out. And so different companies, they kind of have like sweet spots, would you call it, of what they
100%.
prefer to insure.
Yeah. Yeah.
The person or the property.
Yes.
So can you give us an example of something that would be different between two companies?
Yeah.
Do you see consistency in it as well?
Yeah, you see a lot of the cream of the crop companies, the Avivas, the Intacs, Economicals. They kind of have that same business portfolio. And then some of the smaller companies have a bit of a different risk profile. They want, inner city municipal homes. They don't want anything that's not, fire hydrant protected or fire department protected to a certain kilometer radius, because it puts more risk on a company. And if they're smaller,
So sounds like if they're a smaller company, they can't take on as much risk, because if they get hit hard, they're going to get really hit
they're going
hard,
to lose money. Yeah.
right? Whereas a larger insurance company, they can kind of spread that risk out on a number of policies,
Exactly.
on more policies.
Yeah, that's insurance to a T.
Okay, so a big insurance company, they're going to be the widest scope of what they'd be open to insuring.
Yes.
Would that be a correct statement?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So someone would go to then a smaller company. Why would they go to a smaller company then to get a price? What would be the advantage of working with a smaller insurance company?
An advantage of a smaller company is, if you fit their risk profile, you're going to get a premium rate for it.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're that perfect fit,
Yep.
just like, same with the mortgage, right? If you hit all the right buttons to get approved for that mortgage, you may get a better interest rate.
Yeah.
Same thing with insurance.
For sure.
Excellent. So should anybody have any concerns when they're getting a home insurance policy about, different factors of what could be covered or limits or so on, right?
Yeah.
So what would be the most people's concerns about in that regard?
Besides making sure you're covered for, the worst case scenario, which would be a fire that burns down your entire house and all your property.
Not a good day. You know what I mean? We don't make
Never a
light
good
of this.
day.
Never a good day. I have had, in my experience, I've had a couple of people rent homes for me that unfortunately had a terrible fire, and the insurance company comes in and they're going to cover that rent for a certain length of time.
Yep.
We need to make sure they can cover, because a lot of times the challenge is it looks like it's going to take 4 months and ends up taking 8 months, 12 months, or even longer.
Yeah. Construction always seems to take a little bit longer than initial promised dates, right? So
Yeah, it's the old thing in renovations where we say double the budget, double the time.
yeah,
So that can show itself up in an insurance claim as well.
for sure.
Okay. So we're talking about earlier a little bit about what impacts the cost of the insurance.
Yep.
You mentioned about water impacts as an example.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so water impacts, obviously companies are going to have a different rating based off of your location, right? If you're close to a large body of water, you're more susceptible to flooding. If you're on the low part of an elevation, water always travels downwards. So if you're on the side of the escarpment, it's going to, probably come into your house.
Right. Well, certainly we're all by a large body of water in the Niagara region. We're all by Lake Ontario or Niagara River or Lake Erie.
Yep.
So that's going to be fairly consistent for the Niagara region, would you say?
Yeah.
But then somebody living just below Brock University, such as I do at this time, so we may pay a little bit more of a premium for that because of water runoff or potentials?
Yeah.
Do they have it narrowed down to certain zones of a city? Is like they have more water problems in that specific neighborhood or postal code? Does it get that far?
It would go that far into the postal code rating. Obviously, if you're, right on, Lake Ontario, or if you're, north of, I would say even like Parnell or Linwell, that's going to have a little bit more impact than if you're, deeper into the city and farther away from a body of water.
Okay, so obviously they know where the flood zones are a little bit, or
Yep.
the 100-year flood plan and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Would there be any other factors that would, some major factors from one specific location to another location?
Yeah.
How that might quote differently?
Yeah, like I mentioned, obviously being close to fire department or police department, as well as, hydrant protected as opposed to non-hydrant protected. But also things as crime rate, right? Theft's a big issue.
Crime rate. That's a little bit of a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Because, we're selling real estate
Yep.
in Niagara. Overall, it may not always feel this way, but we're a pretty safe area, I feel.
would say
There's
so.
crime everywhere, right?
Yep.
So whether you're in the considered toughest neighborhood, or whether you're in, someone might deem a little bit wealthy area and so on, crime happens.
Yep.
And still, though, you do find, let's just be straight and honest, you find that certain areas are going to tend to have a higher crime rate.
Yes.
We may not want to talk about it, but let's talk about it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay,
let's
we'll
just
go
call
into
a spade a spade.
Yep.
So what are you finding in the Niagara region? A little bit tougher as far as that goes.
Yeah. Obviously, anytime you're anywhere closer to downtown, there's going to be a little bit higher volumes of people, so a little bit more crime and theft in that sense than if you're in a more rural area, I would say.
Okay. All right.
put it
Excellent.
best.
Yeah, to put it best.
Yeah.
And again, certain areas within the Niagara region as well have a little bit higher crime rate overall in the city. Or are they fairly equal throughout Niagara?
Fairly equal throughout Niagara. I mean, there's obviously, a couple hotter spots, but, it's more in the commercial downtown area, not as many houses for sale there.
Right. So you submit that address
Yep.
to the insurance companies.
Yep.
And they have a system that they put the address in and it shows them where the hot spots are, type of thing.
Yeah, that's well above my pay grade for how all that stuff goes down. But an actuary would, have a computer system that, puts all that in based off of, prior year losses, crimes reported, all that stuff that would go into creating a rating for a certain type of loss, like a theft in an area.
Okay. So it's kind of like a little bit like a heat map. You're
Yeah.
going to have your
Yes.
dark, and then other areas might light up like a little Christmas tree.
Yep,
Would
for
you,
sure.
Would you say?
For sure.
Okay. So moving on from there, when people have so that's all great. You
Yeah.
find them a fantastic policy, great rate, they're good to go. You give them a printout,
Yep.
goes in their box, and hopefully it's forgotten about.
Yeah.
But then one day some shit happens. Something happens, right?
Yep.
And they run into a scenario and they got a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
And I always say there's never a problem until there's a problem, then you got a freaking problem, right? So in my personal experience, I've run into a little bit of a challenge. And speaking with Wes behind the camera,
Yep.
Everyone has their own personal experience, right? Not everybody. If you're fortunate, you don't have an experience. But if you have an experience, honestly, no offense to you, you're the good guy, so no problem there. But it's not so easy to deal with the insurance companies. Is it the insurance companies that's challenged? Like, where's the stressor here?
Yeah, I think, the big stressor comes from obviously the insurance companies. At the end of the day, they are a business, right? They're not just, going to hand out every nickel and dime without, sort of looking into it or doing their own research and that. But it's a stressful time for people as well. So a claims experience is always going to be tough in that sense, right? Nobody's going to be happy that their, brand new car got hit and, they need to get a new one and they don't have a car for a week, or nobody's excited when they walk downstairs and they got a foot of water in their basement, right?
Right. I guess they're maybe a little excited if they got a kind of a not so great car, and you give them a beautiful, beautiful brand new vehicle to drive for a while.
Yeah, that would be.
I guess that would be your only bonus when it comes to getting in a car accident.
Yeah, I guess.
Right.
So, yeah.
And hopefully, of course, no injuries.
No.
So, cars, to me, cars simple. You get in an accident,
Yep.
bring it in for repair. They give you a free rental car. I guess the only challenge could be if your policy doesn't have as much coverage as what you need, like they can't get it repaired right away. They don't have a part or something to come in.
Yeah.
So that can be a challenge.
Yeah, we're seeing it a lot more in the industry now. Obviously through COVID, everything kind of got backed up, and automobile dealers are still trying to deal with catching up on replacement parts and all that stuff. So things are generally taking a little bit more time. And if you haven't looked at your auto policy in a while, there are limits to certain coverages. Like you would only have a certain period of time with your rental car.
I will say this. I will admit to this. I generally get my insurance policies in the mail. I get a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I generally don't even open them. Right. And they get into a drawer.
Yeah.
And they're last, because I don't have to pay it. I'm on a monthly payment. So I don't really look at it too much. The other day, I started looking a little deeper. I'm like, you can learn a few things from that.
Yeah.
And you may be able to go back to your insurance guy and say, hey, things have changed a little bit, this, that, whatever. Can we adjust it? Correct? That happens sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, your insurance guy should be reaching out to you every year on your renewal time.
Well, thank goodness you're going to be my new insurance guy.
There you
So
go.
then I will have someone looking at it a little closer.
Yeah.
So, but I have had good insurance guys in the past,
for sure.
I will say, but it is nice to have a new, fresh relationship with you.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that sometimes when somebody goes, oh, can we get this policy cost down? There are ways to bring that cost down, but there's also impacts to that. Can you share with us a little bit and everybody about that?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, there's certain discounts on the policy that kind of go hand in hand, especially if you pair things together, like your multi-vehicle policies, multi-line policies. But the removal of coverage or setting limits lower would obviously reduce the cost of your insurance policy.
Right. So that's all fine till you have a claim.
Yes.
Then it's a little bit challenging.
Yeah, everybody wants the insurance cost lower, but then they want to be covered for everything, when something happens, right?
Right. So, the other way that has always been common is increasing your deductible. Correct?
Yes.
Is that still a common thing in order to bring your costs down a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, fantastic. So it's the risk reward, how much risk reward to get a little bit cheaper rate that you're willing to go. Or some people just like to sleep well at night. They're more than covered. And that's great too, right? So there's not really a right or wrong answer.
No.
Correct? Same with house insurance, right?
Yeah.
You talk about car insurance, but same with house insurance. You can adjust your deductibles and different levels of coverage and so on.
Yeah.
The bottom line, I think, here is everybody needs to find a great insurance broker. The broker who's going to help them shop around their policy, shop around what they're looking for, and find the best rates and terms and be able to explain it to that person.
Yeah.
So they know exactly what they're getting for and get great protection moving forward if hopefully they never have to have an event. But if they do, they're covered.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for covering everybody.
Oh.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Great job, buddy. Next
you.
time you're on, we're going to talk a little bit more about insurance from a buyer's standpoint, things to watch and what they need when they're getting a mortgage and getting insurance on that.
Yeah.
And then we'll also talk about life insurance sometimes.
Sounds great.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.